Hi everybody, thank you for joining us for today's session. My name is Paul Kornfeld, president of SIACharts, and we're going to take a look at how we can manage risk with powerful and unbiased fund rankings. Basically, what are the best funds out there, how do I find them, and how do I build models and strategies around them? So let's just jump right in, and we'll take you through kind of what we're going to talk about today. And our first thing we're going to take a look at is our purpose and our mission statement, just a little bit of who we are and what we're all about. Then we're going to take a look at the universe and what are all our options out there? What should we be buying and selling? How do we make those decisions? So we have a relative strength solution that we're going to talk about and a short video that will explain that for us. And then we'll talk about the process in terms of risk management, asset allocation, all the way down to fund selection and building out a model at the end with a real life example. So let's jump right in. So SIACharts is built exclusively for financial advisors. Really our mission is we're a market intelligence platform, empowering you with objective fintech research and intuitive features. We really try to strive to build in-depth portfolio management tools and empower you as an advisor and saving you time from what you're spending on research with hopefully very valuable tools and information to move you forward. So that's kind of a little bit about us. Now let's take a look at the problem out there. We've identified as just one of many problems out there, but there's so many different funds out there. There's so many different ETFs that are being launched every single day in the US. There's over 5 trillion in assets now tracking different ETFs. There's over 1,000 ETFs in Canada, and that's just talking about ETFs. And the reason I bring that up is because it's definitely the fastest growing area in the fund industry that more and more people are getting access to, especially retail clients. That's a lot of how they're starting to invest as well. And obviously the fund research on the Canadian side with mutual funds is expansive with tens of thousands of different opportunities as well. So, what we can help you do and what we want to take a look at today is how do you compare ETFs against mutual funds? How do you compare those against stocks and commodities or Bitcoin or other places that you might be wanting to put that money? So we're just going to take a look at kind of potential solution to navigating all the different investment choices out there, hopefully simplifying it so that you can save time that you might be spending on research right now, so you have more time to meet with your clients, more time to grow your book of business, more time for, playing a round of golf. So one of the ways that we do this is with a tool called relative strength. This isn't a new technique or anything, but it's been around for a long time. What we've been able to do is take that hopefully to a new level, using AI, using algorithms, using lots of server power to create a really powerful process. But first, let's take a look. What is relative strength? What am I talking about? Well, simply, it's a technique that compares the performance of an asset class or an investment against each other on a relative strength basis. So how we do that is we look at the underlying supply and demand of, let's just say, 2 stocks here, Apple versus Walmart, Tesla versus Microsoft. It doesn't matter, you pick. We really put those into an arm wrestling match or a boxing rank in a way, and we have those 2 fight it out, looking at the underlying price movement. We'll have one of those funds, one of those investments will come out the winner, and then we do that same thing with Apple versus Bank of America or Apple versus Royal Bank or a Canadian stock, right? So we can do that with relative strength against from a high level, from an asset class standpoint, from a sector standpoint, to a fund standpoint, or to all the way down to an investment standpoint. So what we're going to do now is a better way of explaining this instead of listening to me is we'll take a quick pause and watch a video that explains this, and then we'll pick it up.
Perspective. Our world is vast and complex, and our experiences tend to be shaped by our own perspectives, by our own unique point of view. Oftentimes, our perspectives are based on limited data or incomplete information. But what if there was a way to broaden our perspective, to see things from a larger vantage point? How would this change your life? And what if we could apply this to investing? How would it change the way you invest? A lone runner only competes against herself. Is she a strong runner? Is her time impressive? This is difficult to determine because she's not being compared to anyone else. But what if she ran against 10 other runners, or 100, or 1,000,000? How would she compare now? At SIACharts, we sought to develop an approach to investing based on a different perspective. An approach that doesn't rely on any one runner's performance, but rather compares the performance of all runners against each other. This approach is called relative strength investing. Imagine a marathon where thousands of runners are competing against each other. It becomes much clearer how the runner is doing relative to everyone else. This relative strength comparison provides greater insight into the runner's strengths. It provides an objective and unbiased gauge of where the runner ranks at any given time compared to their peers. Relative strength investing is like viewing a global marathon. It enables the investor to analyze the strongest or weakest investments by comparing them to a larger investment universe. It helps to objectively determine who is outperforming the larger group and therefore who to invest in. SIACharts is a unique technology platform that runs millions of comparisons on investments each day to determine which ones are currently leading the race and which ones are falling behind. Broaden your perspective. Invest with SIACharts. For more information on SIACharts and to request a free demo, please visit us at SIACharts.com.
So the relative strength solution that video kind of talks about is really the secret sauce of what we do. Is we do those comparisons, those head-to-head matchups a lot. 10 billion calculations get run every single night. We're doing tens of millions of those head-to-head comparisons. Just off of ETF rankings alone, we're doing over 15 million head-to-head ETF comparisons every single night. We have a popular, what's called an all-CAD ETF report that ranks all the unleveraged ETFs against each other to help find what's the best ETF out there, what's the best fund that I should be looking at. So if you want, check that out. Go to our website, sign up for our newsletter, and you'll get emailed this popular report. Even if that's all you hear about from the rest of this conversation, it's a pretty cool free report that you can subscribe to. But what we want to do next is really dive into that process. Okay, there's all these opportunities out there. There's all these different sectors. There's all these different places where you can put that money. Let's take a little bit of top-down approach and talk about our process in 4 different steps. That's gonna hopefully simplify where those best opportunities are. So the first thing we always do is we just answer the simple question of should we be looking at equities or should we be looking elsewhere? With that question, we've built a risk management tool called the Equity Action Call that simplifies that question into 3 different positions. One is kind of a green favorite zone where risk is off, the markets are up. I think U.S. markets have hit 65 new highs this year already. Those kind of statistics, we want to stay in the green zone, take advantage of that. That's where we are right now, unless something has changed since the recording of this video. The other opportunities are maybe a 2008 scenario where we're taking the risk off the table and we want to help you, empower you, give you that kind of risk management tool to help understand kind of what scenario we're in. Are we in a March 2020 or are we in a August of 2013 where we're just putting our foot on the gas and investing and trying to get that, hopefully those really good return kind of years. So that's the first step, and that's what we always start with, because anybody can help you pick stocks or funds and things like that, but if we don't even understand what kind of environment that we're in, that can significantly affect the outcome of those decisions. So everything that we do here at SIACharts and with funds that manage based on our technology start with this aspect. It's so key to everything else that we talk about because risk management is so important for the client, for the strategies, everything like that. The next step in the process is taking a look at that next level. If we know we want to be in equities, which ones do we want to be in? Do we want to be in Canadian or US or international? Do we want to be in other asset classes instead? And as we can see with that past quote, that around 80% to 90% of these decisions, whether I should be in equities or not, and which ones I should be in, or should I be overweight fixed income, or should I be in alternatives, should I be in cryptocurrency, right? There's all these different options out there. And obviously, which asset classes or which areas that you focus in make it a big part of those overall portfolio returns, those overall decisions. Obviously, we want to take into account our clients' risk appetite and kind of their IPS, and where they're best positioned, obviously, in their journey. But at the same point, hopefully we have some flexibility that we can step on the gas and increase our equity exposure, maybe in good times, maybe coming out of that pandemic when free money is flowing. So what we have available is an asset class ranking system that helps us understand where those best opportunities are. And right now, fixed income might not be the best place to be with rates so low. That might change over time as the government start increasing rates. But right now we want to take advantage of maybe energy, oil trading over $80 or $85 or wherever it is now. We want to take advantage of that kind of information and best position our clients from, again, a top-down approach, from a risk management standpoint to an asset class standpoint. And then the next level is kind of from the sector standpoint. We can dive a little bit deeper. And okay, if you want to be in Canada, or if you want to be in the U.S., where's those best opportunities? And we can do it from a cap size standpoint. We can look at sectors. Do we want to be in technology or healthcare or utilities, right? Where are the best positioned areas within each asset class, within each different sector, those kind of decisions as well. So we have an easy ranking system that helps us understand where those cap sizes, where those best opportunities are. And then we can dive down to the last level and say, okay, we know we want to be in maybe some natural resources or commodities, or in small cap Canada that usually has those kind of funds positioned for that. We can look at unbiased rankings on our system using that relative strength that we talked about, that rank these funds from a 6 to 18 month outlook. We're not a day trading system. We're built for advisors like yourself that want to buy and hold these positions, hope for a long haul, but also we want to have that flexibility to change those if there's a better opportunity elsewhere. We have other rankings, other scores to help us understand the short-term outlook of any of the investments, stocks, ETFs, and funds on our system as well, to help us best position ourselves going forward. So we're going to dive into this in a couple seconds and actually take you through this and build out a model. But this is just hopefully a quick snippet of what the SIACharts system is all about. All right. Well, let's dive into the SIACharts platform and see how we can take this top-down approach that we just talked about and take a look at it in a little bit more detail and with all the tools and features on here. So where I am is I just jumped to the asset allocation page, where we have this risk management tool that we talked about, the equity action call up here on the top. And what we can do is we can even see kind of how this has actually reacted over the last 15 years to the 2008 cycle, or to more recently to what it looked like here in March of 2020. So in March of 2020, on March 6th, 2020, the system already started reducing its equity exposure. Bonds moved to the number one ranking, and I can see that just by actually clicking on the rank here, and it shows me the asset class rankings of that time. Obviously, if you sign up for a free trial with our service, you'll be able to see all this history and go back to any date that you want to see. So again, it's not meant to be a day trading system, but an overall risk management tool to just help us understand what the markets are showing. What's that supply and demand relationship? Is it moving in towards more cash and bonds? In this case, we see cash and currency and bonds really move up the rankings to cash number one in April as well. But you can see that we're getting out of the markets. We're saving valuable assets from that dip, and also not staying out till later that year, getting back into April when international and commodities and some of these asset classes start jump up to the top. So you can see even before the end of before the end of April, getting back in kind of in the green light, and you can see these rankings again down here. So today is the current date that I have up here, and the second level is that asset class. So let's take this back to kind of today and take a look at where some of those best opportunities are right now. So like I said, if we looked at the asset class rankings, we can see some of that change happening over time. And then I can see the number one asset classes in commodities, and also maybe potentially what some ideas are within here. So we have the opportunity to change between ETFs, mutual funds, Canada, the US. Again, I'm just staying with Canadian ETFs just for this example. but we can customize that to see, especially for US analysis, I'd want to switch over and see where those opportunities lie. If you click on any of the asset classes, this is where you can see that third level, that sector breakdown of where those opportunities within commodities. Is it precious metals, gold, silver, or is it more on the energy side? And that's a clear win for energy right now. And I can click on this report, see it's the number one ranked sector, and then I can even see some quick and easy ideas right here. So we've been able to create a page that has all 4 levels of analysis, from risk management, asset allocation, to which sectors show the best opportunity, to actually actionable ideas in ETFs or funds right off the bat here. So I can come in here and find some good opportunities. And again, this is of this ranking, so of course I could go back in time, see what it looks like any other day. I can also click on the Canadian side here and see, do I want to be in that small mid-cap area? Do I want to be focused somewhere else? Or I can click on international and see where that global focus is. So again, there's so many things to click on and so many things to go through here, but why don't I jump to the reports, that kind of 4th level of analysis where we, I think, find a lot of the analysis. So we can go over here, click on reports, and we can pull up different stock reports, ETF reports, and mutual fund reports, as well as sector analysis. So just showing a classic report that we have in our system, the TSX 60 here. If you guys do use stock analysis, we have great stock research on here and rankings for really any universe that you want to take a look at. So here's the 60 most liquid names in Canada, and we can take a look at where those rankings are, and we can organize it, we can see and customize this, all these kind of things. We can even see how it's changed over the last month. So we can see that something like Synovus was already ranked number 1 to 3 in this ranking over the last month, and it's up 16% in that last month. That's the kind of opportunity that we're helping people find and getting that exposure to. And also, more importantly, what are we staying away from? We're staying away from things like QSR right now, Tim Hortons, Burger King, conglomerate there, other utilities, stuff like that. The overall sectors, you can see what's maybe not working so much. We see some of the gold stocks. We just looked at that from a top-down approach. Here's the stocks that are driving that analysis that we're helping stay away from these kind of dragging down of your portfolio. So just as important of what to pick, the risk management aspect of our system is probably more valuable on what to stay away from. Everybody has the buy-side research. We're also kind of, in a way, doing the sell-side research here of what to stay away from. So let's jump over to Canadian ETFs here and spend the bulk of our time here, and also for creating a report. So what we can do is, even on this standard report, we have it broken down by company. So if you use iShares or BMO or CIBC or whatever fund company that you might use, then great, we have a report for them. But we also, again, are an unbiased and objective ranking system. So we categorize it by kind of their CIFSE sector and their kind of industry that falls into. So again, I can sort it by, hey, I want to look at all the different commodity ETFs. We'll take a look at that here in a second. Or all the global international ETFs that trade in Canada, or the US ones down here as well. But this one that I have up is just the Canadian ETF, kind of grouping all these together. And we can see a couple opportunities up here. We can also get, if I click on some of this information, I can get a quick chart, quick information about it. And one of the things that we provide is what we call our 5-second analysis in our SI rank score, that takes an average of this ETF and how it ranks in all the different reports on our system, and gives us that long-term outlook. And is it green, yellow, or red? It's that easy. And then also a short-term kind of technical score as well on how it compares to other places you could put that money. So that's, again, the power of relative strength, is we can look at all these comparisons and simplify it into as simple as 2 green check marks or that kind of analysis. But we can also see which of these funds, kind of how they rank against each other. And then again, I can scroll down to, let's say, the US equity side, and find what the best opportunities are. Clearly is having some exposure to the NASDAQ. That seems to have outperformed over the long term, maybe not in the short term, and then see some other funds starting to move up, in some value funds, things like that. So again, the opportunities are endless on this system. This is a quick snapshot of what that could look like. And then we have sector analysis. And again, I don't have time to go into the mutual fund reports, but we can see that we can come in here and again see that same sector rankings that we looked at earlier on the other side. So how do we build a model? Well, what we can do is we can use some of these reports to find opportunities like this. I can find the best US equity fund. I can find some of the best Canadian funds. So let's say I'm going to grab this NBIN, Canadian Family Business ETF. Don't know too much about it, but it's ranked really high in our system, and it actually has been throughout the whole year. And I can see that with the overall ranking here by clicking on this fund or going back in time and seeing that. So I'm going to jump over to models now and kind of show you an example of one of these models and how to build them. So jumping over to models now, I want to show you how we can both create a model and how we can keep it up to date and use it for marketing purposes for our clients. So not only is our tool hopefully a powerful research tool to help you find what best funds, but we can also kind of turn that into the next step, which is tracking that performance, testing out strategies. And the one kind of created today as an example is a 5-stock, kind of more of a tactical equity sleeve, maybe of your portfolio. So we're not including any fixed income, anything in here. And what I did is I tried to use the asset allocation understanding. So we might be a little bit more overweight to Canada and commodities, maybe international US as well, than again we would. So again, kind of focusing on those top 2 asset classes. So here's kind of the current holdings today. I'm going to show you how we can make those decisions and go back in time, do simple buys and sells if time allows, and if not, we'll speed through this a little bit. So we can see today's holdings in here very quickly. If I jump back real quick to the beginning of the model, I think we started earlier this year, just for example purposes, and we can see what our holdings started off with. So again, we were kind of overweight on the commodity side of things because we saw energy equity as that kind of top place to be. Then we kind of focused in a small cap Canada and also some focused Canadian funds, since that was the high ranking asset class at that time. Also with some exposure to North America, and didn't have too much international at the time, but this is kind of an example portfolio. I believe this is an international holding in here to give us some of that exposure as well. So again, just tactical, just use examples here. You can see I have a couple US ETFs and a couple Canadian ones. Again, your choice. You can do whatever you want. There's obviously Canadian equivalents to some of these funds or that exposure as well. So now let's say I jump forward a couple months. I don't know, I'll just rebalance here in September, and we'll take a look at how hopefully easy that is to be. Maybe I hold or I want to trim my oil position because maybe it was too much of a weighting right now, or oil's kind of gone on a nice run. You can see my gain losses of this date up 36% already. So let's say we want to rebalance our oil position down to 40%, maybe where it should have been, or to kind of get back into our target range for that fund. I can come in here and just press that and hold that position and set my cash for where I want it to be as well. Then I can equal rebalance the rest. There we go, just like that. Confirm my rebalance. See what my actual trades were doing. So if you need to perform these trades on a trading tool, you can do that. And submit my trades. So now I can jump forward to the latest dates, see what our positions and how the model is doing. We have powerful gain loss kind of tracking as we go. That again, any live kind of things. We can do quick buys, quick sells in the model. We have the ability to put in fees for advisors. We have all this other tracking and trades within the system as well. So I know that's a very simplified approach, but lots of power, lots of ability within our models. Probably our most powerful feature in the whole site. And then if we take a look at this last example, we'll take a look at this new template we built out and what this could look like for this model. So we can see month by month kind of tracking where we do really well, maybe what was our tougher months in here. We can take a look at kind of our breakdown by sector or trailing performance. Nice little growth chart versus a benchmark. We can customize our benchmarks on there for clients. A lot of risk reward and analysis available as well, and also some individual analysis for the holdings that are currently part of the model. So all this is customizable, and you can print this off in a nice little PDF, and away you go. So that's kind of a quick rundown of the SIACharts system of hopefully how you can take our analysis from a top-down approach with our asset class rankings, with our reports. I didn't even get into how you can customize it, on here all the way to implementing that and telling your clients about it. So it's a quick rundown of SIACharts. Hopefully you enjoyed it and learned something. And again, we are available for a free trial if you're interested. Well, thank you so much for spending the time learning about a little bit about our software and how we're helping empower advisors take their research to the next level. We want to put the tools back into your hands to help make the best decisions you can for your clients. If you're interested in kind of what we do and what we're all about, we have some different options that we just want to quickly mention. We have different levels based on where you are as an advisor, or different levels of access to types of investments. So if you're CFP or an MFDA advisor and you mostly just deal with funds and ETFs, Canadian mutual funds, our SI funds level is probably the right step for you, and it starts just as low as $150 a month with an annual commitment, and you get all the customization, all the rankings, everything that you might want about that, so you can compare and help build strategies along with support from our staff. And then we have some other levels. Our most popular level is our professional level, where you have kind of full access to everything in our system that we have right now. We're constantly coming out with new things for all levels as well, but you get the models, you get the portfolios, you get our marketing builder, and you get really unlimited access to portfolios, reports, and everything else. So that might be a great level for you. So, but just honestly, if you don't know where to start, just sign up for a trial at SIACharts.com, and we're happy to help you out, take you through where that is. So you can get in touch with us just by going to our website and filling out some information, or give us a call or an email, and we'll be happy to chat with you. So thanks again for listening, and if you mention this webinar, well, we might even have a discount for you. So stay tuned.